I want to go to audience questions, and I hope you all have sent some to the Iconic Tour hashtag. I'll go to those in just a sec. But from politics back to entrepreneurialism and entrepreneurship, you've built businesses, you've faced business challenges, you have talked to people like the people in this room, entrepreneurs. What do they ask you most, and what do you tell them?
Time. Time seems to be the largest issue. How many of you have time issues in running your business, having to have a life and your time? Can I see your hands out there who feels like that's there? So you can see it's about 90%.
There you go.
Right? But the issue of time is not the real issue. The real issue is that they're operating as an operator, not an owner.
Yeah.
And so what I start to do in the beginning, you have to do both, right? But what I start to do is show them how you have to be able to break off and get other people to do things. But more importantly, I teach people, I do a 5-day boot camp, I call Business Mastery a couple times a year. And we bring in businesses from all over the world, literally. And we have people just starting a business, and we have people with, businesses that are doing $1 billion, $2 billion, $3 billion. And what you find is that there's a common pattern amongst all these group of people where they find themselves, if it's a small business, they do everything because they feel like they're the only one who can do it, or they tried someone else and they failed. Well, that happens in every business. You have to begin to leverage yourself, or you're just going to be self-employed, and you'll never have the scalability. A business is a system that adds value even when you're not there. And you as a leader have to get good enough to both hire people and train people so that you're not a manager. A manager works with people to make sure they get the job done while you're there. But if you have to be there, I run 33 companies. I mean, every 4 days I'm on a plane, train, helicopter, on stage somewhere on average in a year. And I got 33 companies. There's 12 I manage directly, but I couldn't do that by management. I do it by leadership. I build leaders who can make their own decisions. I hire people that are the best of the best. Now in the beginning, that's hard because you have no money, right? So you hire the best, it's called you, and you pay them nothing, right? And then now you try to hire other people, and what do? You hire your friends, which, is a disaster because they're not as skilled, and you love them, and it's hard to manage them. And then I hired people that were really talented, but they were mean, they didn't share my values. And so eventually you get to that place where you can find the right people. But I think the most important secret for the growth of any business, the question I guess on how to get over the time, and the answer is you got to take 2 hours, 90 minutes a week with your team of 1, 2, 3, 2,000, and you got to meet where you work on the business. And I teach people a format called 7-7, where there's 7 areas of a business that you cannot miss: marketing, sales, optimization, the financials, culture. And I'll make sure that each week you and your team focus on that, not the day-to-day business, but how do we strengthen our marketing, not just for this run, but overall, how do we build the brand? What do we do to change our sales process? How do we optimize the business? How do we spend no money and grow the business 30% in the next 3 to 6 months? And when you take small markers in the business that are critical and you improve them 5, 10, 15%, but you do 12 of them, you'll grow your business 120, 130%, 140% because there's a compounding impact. You don't just get the improvement you've made. So I try to help businesses to make those changes so you have time to think and be strategic. Because if you're just running, how many of you are stressed? I'll be honest if you would. Today, being here and not being at your business, how many feel some stress in your business being away even for a day? Okay, right down, I'm a business operator, F that, right? I'm become a business owner, you've got to be.
Well, I'll give you a very simple process. I was teaching this to someone in Japan yesterday, actually a very large number of people in Japan yesterday. And it starts with a piece of paper and you. A piece of paper and a pen or pencil will make you rich. And we won't go into goal setting, it's a whole separate process, but make a list of everything that you have to do tomorrow. The best time to make your list is the night before. If you make a list of your whole day for tomorrow, your subconscious will work on your list overnight, and you'll wake up in the morning with ideas and insights that are sometimes quite amazing. So you make a list, and then you look at the list, and you ask this simple question. If I could only do one thing on this list before I was called out of town for a month, which one task would I want to be sure to get completed? And put a circle around that, your list. Now, when you get up in the morning, whatever time you start, and that's a very interesting point, wealthy people get up in the morning by 6 a.m. Poor people get up at 7 or afterwards. Wealthy people get up earlier, poor people get up later. Real simple. So if you're getting up around 7 o'clock, you're always going to be poor. For the simple reason, by the time you get started, the day is half finished, and now you're checking your email and you're talking to your friends, and then it's lunchtime and coffee time and spam time and everything else. Get up at 6 o'clock and develop a ritual. Get up, exercise, then sit, plan your day, get organized, and start to hit it at 8 o'clock. And the first thing you do is you start on your most important task. And then you concentrate single-mindedly on that task. You do not turn on your email. You do not turn on your telephone. You don't do anything except that one task. And you just do this one task until it's completed. Now, you've already agreed with yourself and the world that there's nothing more valuable in the world than you could do than this one task. So do this. And if you develop a habit of getting up in the morning and starting and completing your most important task, it will transform your life. It's one of the most incredible productivity habits ever discovered. And every person who discovers it, they see their income, their productivity, their performance, and their satisfaction just explode. It's very simple. The question is, do you have the discipline? Do you have the self-control, the willpower to start and complete your most important task? If you don't have it, you can develop it with practice. If you develop with practice, it soon becomes easy and automatic. And if you just do this, your productivity will double the first day.
Well, most successful entrepreneurs have gone bust. Right?
Yeah.
You know, Henry Ford, an old-time entrepreneur, he went bust 5 times. You know, look at Steve Jobs.
Yep.
His own board fired him.
Yep.
You know, Bill Gates was taken before the Supreme Court for monopolistic practices.
Right.
Even my friend Donald Trump went down $1 billion.
Yeah.
I only went down $1 million. So the average person is so afraid of those losses, they never get ahead. Because at school they teach you if you make a mistake or if you fail, you're a failure. But that's not real life. A baby learns to walk by standing up and falling down, standing up and falling down. And our school system punishes you for making mistakes. That's why my poor dad, an academic, was so unsuccessful. He was terrified of making mistakes.
When you grow up, you tend to get told that the world is the way it is, and your life is just to live your life inside the world, try not to bash into the walls too much, try to have a nice family life, have fun, save a little money. But life, that's a very limited life. Life can be much broader once you discover one simple fact, and that is everything around you that you call life was made up by people that were no smarter than you. And you can change it. You can influence it. You can build your own things that other people can use. And the minute that you understand that you can poke life and actually something will, if you push in, something will pop out the other side, that you can change it, you can mold it. That's maybe the most important thing, is to shake off this erroneous notion that life is there and you're just going to live in it, versus embrace it, change it, improve it, make your mark upon it. I think that's very important. And however you learn that, once you learn it, you'll want to change life and make it better, because it's kind of messed up in a lot of ways. Once you learn that, you'll never be the same again.
If John isn't making sales, we say, okay, let's get on him about making sales. But perhaps we should ask, why isn't he making sales? Someone says, he isn't making enough calls. We say, okay, let's get on him about making calls. Well, maybe we should ask another question first. Why isn't he making calls? Well, it's because he isn't getting up early and getting out into the marketplace. We say, okay, let's get on him about getting up early and getting out into the marketplace. Well, perhaps we should ask just one more question. Why isn't he getting getting up early and getting out into the marketplace. Now we have probably gotten to the heart of the problem. Perhaps it's something personal, problems at home, not his sales skill. The real problems are usually about 3 or 4 questions deep. So if you get good at asking questions, you can save yourself a lot of time by getting right at the heart of the matter when dealing with other people. Otherwise, you tend to waste valuable time just finding out what the problem really is. Now here is the last part of time management. Learn to think on paper. From all of my experience working on many projects and in many countries, one of the major time savers is thinking on paper. It is so important to take things out of your head and put them on paper, then work from the paper. Building your business is a lot like building a house. You take the ideas out of your head, put them on paper, and then build from the plan. We have a saying on this idea: operate from document, not from thought. It's just about over when a person wakes up in the morning and says, let's see, what shall I do today? Too late, right? The best thing you can do now is to take today off and at least plan tomorrow. Let me give you 4 major ways to think on paper. The first is a journal. I spend a lot of time talking about journals in my lectures and programs, primarily because it is such an invaluable tool for the serious student of the better life. A journal is merely a gathering place for all the good information that comes your way, from sermons, from books, from lectures, from business conferences, magazines, thinking time, research, any source of information that you feel is worth keeping. Don't let the good ideas of life escape you. Remember, most good ideas usually only come by once. Get into the habit of capturing them with pen and paper by making daily use of your journal. Now maybe you won't write in it every day, but at least make sure it's with you every day. Here's the second way to think on paper: a projects book. This is simply a ring binder with tabs in it to help you keep track of all the current people and projects you are involved with and need to work on to make all the parts of your life work to the maximum. If you are working with people, give them each a tab in your projects book. Then under this tab, you keep a running account of all the current information you need to know about that person. Performance, family, goals, strengths, needs, perhaps even some graphs showing recent progress or comparisons to past performance. Essentially, you make a note of all the information you need to know so that when you sit down to have a meeting with this person, you have all the pertinent facts there before you in order to have a meaningful and productive conversation. Without this habit, it's so easy to take up time talking with someone and get so very little accomplished because most of the meeting ends up by being devoted to bringing you up to date on the facts you could have already had in your projects book.
Everybody, let us say together: lead and grow your wings on the way down. See, in order to control your destiny, you've got to be a risk taker. You got to be willing to risk people talking about you. You got to be willing to risk someone saying no. You got to be willing to fail again and again and again. You're different. You're an entrepreneur. You're strange. You're not like everybody else. We live in a world where we're told more about our limitations rather than our potential, and so most people just can't see themselves doing better. But you're different. You see some things they can't see. And I encourage you, every one of you in this room right now, you're here for a reason. How many of you know people who should be here? Raise your hands, please. Yes. But you know what? They're in their rightful place. Their rightful place is where their thoughts have brought them. Their true place is where their thoughts can take them. Everybody is in their rightful place. Here's something else. Seek out positive information. I want you to write this down. My Facebook page is brown.less. Every day we post a positive message there. Every day at brown.less. Because you're in this room, I want you to write this down. Because we're going to send you, we're going to do something called presentation power. You're going to get a chance to view some videos that will give you some directions. But more importantly, I'll tell you what I'm going to send you. I'm going to send you 7 power strategies of how to be a powerful storyteller. So email me at yes@lesbrown.com and say, send me the 7 principles. Mention that you were at this convention. We'll send that to you free. It will give you a guideline how to tell your story. When I started off this presentation, I started off telling my story. I was born in the poor section of Miami, Florida, in Liberty City. Born in an abandoned building with a twin brother. You remember I told you that? My mother worked on Miami Beach as a domestic worker, making up beds, cooking for families. Remember I told you that? See, your story is your power. How many of you have gone through some things? Raise your hands, please. How many of you have experienced some things in your life? Raise your hands, please. How many of you have periods in your life like me where you're temporarily insane? Raise your hand, please. Your story. The presentation part would tell you how to tell your story. I've given lectures at Harvard, Yale, spoken around the world, telling my story. You got a story too. Here's what the power of the story does and why it's important in your presentation and building your organization and why it's going to give you the upper hand and how to recruit people and how many like to get A players? Raise your hands, please. Good. Here's what your story does. Write this down. Distract. See, how people live their lives is a result of the story they believe about themselves. When you're presenting one-on-one or a small group or in a large group, when you tell your story, you're creating an interruption. When you're telling your story about the business of being on a path of creating financial independence, you're interrupting their story, what psychologists call the self-explanatory style. So distract. Let us say together, distract. Here's the other one. Say dispute. When you are going through your presentation, and we're going to teach you how to do this, you're dismantling their limited belief system where they've been programmed to believe only in having a job, the journey of the broke, where they're miserable. They go to work, where they pay them just enough to keep them from quitting, and they work just hard enough to keep from getting fired. That's what you call mixed emotions. Seeing somebody you hate drive off a cliff in your car. You're glad they're gone, but not in my car.
And it begins when you understand. It begins, Marcus, when you understand. It begins when you understand. He still wants you. He still wants you. Your voice in the choir, your message, your service. He still wants you. He still wants you. You're still his daughter. You're still his baby girl. Mistakes and all. He still wants you. He's still got a plan for your life. I'm not excusing your shame. I'm not justifying your mistake. I'm telling you that his grace is bigger than your disgrace and that he still wants you. I'm telling you that God is bigger than your deepest secret, your darkest night, your daughter out of wedlock, your disgrace, your drug addiction, your problem, your pain, your self-medication, your trauma, your family crisis. The scandal in your family is not bigger than the grace of our God. I came to tell you he still wants you. Came to get to you before you end up in the potter's field, self-destructing, self-medicating, self-destroying every opportunity over something you can't get rid of. God loves you, man. That God actually loves you. He still wants you. And you thought you just zoomed in to be zooming in. God wanted you to hear this word. This particular message has got your name on it. I can't help that she don't want you. He still wants you. I can't help that they're talking about you. He still wants you. I can't help how they stare at you. God said, I still want you.
Just ask that you can get wiser and stronger and better, and be able to take care of your own responsibilities. Get better. Learn how to handle the seasons better. Let's go through them. Some stuff I did on satellite many, many years ago. Let me just review those notes for you on this getting better part. Learn how to handle the seasons of life. Number one, learn how to handle the winters. We're all going to go through some winters. Herbalife's been through a few. Just the winters of the calendar in the last 12 years, how many winters? About 12. But it's not just the winters of the calendar. It's not just the winters of the seasons. There's all kinds of winters. The winter when you can't figure it out. The winter when it all goes wrong. The winter when you have all kinds of hecklers on a telephone call. Right? The winter when you get that first half dozen refunds. The winters of your life. Social winters. Political winters that we're going through around the world. Okay. Economic winters that a lot of people are experiencing these days. Personal winters when your heart is smashed in 1,000 pieces and the nights are unusually long. It is simply called winter time. But here's what you got to do in your own personal development, your own personal growth, and that is just get better at handling the winters. You can't change the winter. You can't change the seasons, but you can change yourself. You say, well, what can I do about the upcoming winters of my life, the challenges that I know I'm going to face? Here's what you can do. You can get wiser and stronger and better. Just make a list of that trio of words. Wiser, stronger, better. Go home smarter than you came. Go home with more ideas than you came with. Next, get stronger. You can develop the muscle. You can develop the courage muscle. You can develop the inspiration muscle. You can develop the dedication muscle. You can get stronger. There isn't anybody here that can't get stronger. Next time we see you, may not even recognize you. How strong you're going to be able to become in language, in style, in personality, the ability to cope, the ability to handle with anything that happens, no matter what happens. And the third one is get better. We can all get better. I've gotten better. First talk I gave, I stood up, my mind sat back down. I love to wait for the translation to finish, see if I can get some more reaction here. But here's the secret to my success. I stood up and did it again. I stood up and I did it again. And I did it again, and I did it again all those many years ago. I did it when I was scared, and I did it when I didn't want to, and I did it when I was ill. And I did it when it didn't work well, and I did it when they didn't appreciate it, and I didn't a lot of times when I didn't know much what I was doing. I just did it anyway. And now all these years later, I'm asked to walk on this stage with the greatest introduction I've ever had, the greatest response and welcome I've ever had, the greatest opportunity I've ever had to touch this many lives with a mixture of words and heart and soul. I got better. I got better day by day and week by week and month by month, and I'm asking you to do the same thing until you can develop a long arm and a long reach, until you can develop influence that won't quit. Touch people next year you couldn't touch this year. Touch people now you couldn't touch before. Conduct a meeting now you couldn't conduct before. Heart and soul now mixed in there that wasn't there, missing before. I'm asking all of you to get better in spite of the winters, in spite of the downturn, the money downturn, the social downturn, the personal downturn, whatever it is. Just get stronger. Get better. We've all got those personal winters. We know what those are like. Barbara Streisand sings, it used to be so natural to talk about forever, but used to be's don't count anymore. They just lay on the floor till we sweep them away. You don't sing me love songs, you don't say you need me, and you don't bring me flowers anymore. A winter song. But hey, we're acquainted with all those personal winters and all the rest of it. The key is not to wish for a better winter. The key is to wish for more strength, more wisdom, more courage, get better, get wiser, get stronger.
So I wrote
wrote this down in the late 70s, and it's still true today. Here's what I think a growth environment is. A growth environment is a place where others are ahead of me. In other words, I want to be around people that are better than me. I want to be around people that are more successful than me. I want to be around people that are faster than me. And that's exactly what you have in this organization. You got some pace setters, don't you, huh? You got some amazing pace setters. Let me just put it this way. When you're at the head of the class, you're in the wrong class. That's good, isn't it? Yeah, it is. What do you say? It's just good. My name's John. I'm your friend. A growth environment is a place where I am continually challenged. I'm continually challenged. I mean, every day I get up, I got another hill to climb. I'm not looking for the hammock. I'm looking for the hill. A growth environment is a place where my focus is forward. It's right out in front of me. It's not behind me. It's not the good old days. It's not yesterday. A growth environment is a place where the atmosphere is affirming, where the people around me, they're encouraging me. Encouragement is the oxygen of the soul. A growth environment is a place where I am out of my comfort zone. In other words, I'm telling you, I'm taking virgin territory. I'm going places where I've never been before, and I'm not one bit comfortable. I'm nervous, and I'm excited. I'm stretching, and I'm praying, and I'm holding on, and I'm just, oh, help me, help me, help me. Help me, Ron, to help me, Ron, to help. I'm over my head. Are you with me? And can I tell you something? You want to be over your head. You want to be over your head. You don't want to be in the wading pool of life with ankle deep water. Get over your head. And by the way, when you're over your head, it doesn't matter how deep the water is. You're over your head. The growth environment is a place where I wake up excited. Man, I know a lot of people, they don't even wake up. We're supposed to leave our footprints in the sands of time, but a lot of people, they're just leaving their butt prints. Yeah, they just got butt prints in the sands of time. They're not doing anything. You with me, huh? Hello, come on, talk to me. There are some people, they're already dead. They just haven't made it official yet. A growth environment is a place where failure is not my enemy. It's not my enemy. Failure is my friend. Oh, yes. I write 3 books at a time. This one's not out yet, but I've written it. It comes out next year. I love the title. Sometimes you win, sometimes you learn. It's good, isn't it? That's good. It really is. A growth environment is a place where others are growing. Some of you, I've seen some people, they win the race, but it was because no one else was running. I won. Oh, where's everybody? Oh, I won.
Steve Harvey's coming to the front. I got a belt that's too big, it's tied around me twice. I'm skinny, and I'm heading to the front. I walk like, they used to call me Tater Chip in school, because I was shaped like a potato chip. And I walked up there, and I'm standing in front of class. Now, I told you a minute ago I had a severe stuttering problem in school. I could not talk outside of my house. I stuttered severely. I thought this woman was going to give me a gold star because I figured nobody else in the class had wrote I want to be on TV but me. So mine must be the best answer of all of them. So I'm standing up there, and that lady started in on me. She didn't call me up there to give me no gold star. She called me to the front to humiliate me, and that lady did. She said, why did you put something like this on your paper? Now, you've called me to the front. You know I have a stuttering problem. You know I can't talk. So she started, why did you write this on your paper? Who in your family ever been on TV? Who in this school ever been on TV? Who in this neighborhood has ever been on television? She said, why would you write something like that on your paper? And look at you standing there, you can't even talk. I was crushed. Why would you write that on your paper? You can't even talk. This is a teacher. You're supposed to be shaping and molding my mind. We pay you to educate. Why would you write something like that on your paper? You'll never be on TV. Every Christmas, I send her a flat screen TV because I don't want her to miss me. I wanted her to see what God had done for me. The fact that they don't see the dream, the fact that they don't see what you can be has nothing to do with what God can do. Nothing at all. I don't care who you are, go cut your TV on. You cut your TV on 7 days a week. That little black boy with the stuttering problem, he all over that TV. That little black boy messed around and became a TV star. She didn't see it. How many times have you shared a dream with somebody and they didn't see it? See, that's why the Bible says a man without a dream or vision shall perish. because you can't make it without dreams and visions. If you in this room and you on a team, you know why Wayne is so successful? You know why? Because he set goals. I bet you, he got a target for what he's shooting at. He got a vision of where he's shooting at. When he won Team Member of the Year the first year, I bet he said, I'm gonna do it again next year. I bet he did. Because guess what? If you see it, you can achieve it. If you don't have vision, you can't make it in this world. I don't care if you got on a lime green shirt. I don't care if you got on a black suit, a white t-shirt, or a pimping gold mohair. Without dreams and visions, you can't make it. I'm gonna give you 2 scriptures that changed my life. I told you, I'm gonna motivate you, but I can't without faith.
Another. Then the word of the Lord came unto him, saying, all of this happened in the silent sermons of God. As I close, what is going on in the silence of where you're at right now? What does God want you to see about his ability to make you another person? What is God showing you? In the silence of the times we've been living in, I have been amazed at how little God needed my stuff to run his church. That God didn't need my parking lot, and he didn't need my building, and he didn't need our theatrics, and he didn't need anything. That God didn't even need us to be here to run his church. That God is still God. What are you seeing in the silence about your life that will change how you live out your life, because you're starting to understand what does and does not matter? What will you allow him to repair in you where something happened? I want to talk to some people. I want to talk to some people that have been through something and something happened to you. And I do not negate the fact that you are in the Potter's hand. In fact, my friend, you have always been in the Potter's hand. Even when you weren't living for him, you were in his hand. He protected you when you were drunk. He protected you when you were high. He protected you when you were wild. He protected you when you were in the street. You always been. But something happened, didn't it? Something happened. And you've been damaged in the process. And all of that makeup and all of that hair and all of that stuff you got on cannot hide the fact that you have been damaged in the process. And all of them red bottoms and all of that stuff you got on cannot change the fact that something happened in the process. And you work out in the gym till you ripped, but something happened, didn't it? The Lord said, I'm not gonna throw you away. I'm not gonna throw you away. I'm not gonna cast you down.
If you keep doing what you've been doing, you're gonna keep getting what you've been getting. So if you're in a place in your life and you ain't happy with it, you have to change some things. But you have to make a conscientious decision that you're going to change. And it's not dependent on anybody else.
How bad do you want it? How hungry are you? I see life waltzing with me, saying, you want a tango? Come on. You want this? You willing to run over here? Come on. Are you willing to climb this mountain here? Come on. Are you willing to hold your breath and try and swim down to this level? Come on. I see it as a challenge that introduces me to myself. And so we all have to look at life like that. It's a little game, I think. Yes, I'm saying they can give you the word. Now, you got a choice to accept the word or reject the word. See, there are diseases that people say are incurable, and they say they're incurable because records show or statistics indicate there's only 95%, rather there is a 95% of the people that get this disease die. And I say that if 5% live, then the disease is not incurable. 5 people walked away. Now we need to look at those 5 and find out what was going on there. What happened? And I think that those 5 said, hey, I'm not ready to go. I've got some more living to do. I've got something else to do. And that they harness their feelings, they harness that healing energy that is within themselves, knowingly or unknowingly, that cause them to extend their lives. So what we've got to begin to do is only embrace those things that's for our highest good. That no one has the right to determine or has the knowledge to say how long we're going to be here. and that we can choose to surrender or we can choose to take a stand and fight. And there are a lot of people who fight who are still here. There are people who fight and who go. But at least they go out fighting. They didn't just surrender. They didn't just throw in the towel on themselves. And I'm saying that there is something in us. There's a power and an energy that's in us that we owe it to ourselves to take on anything. Dis-ease in the body, poverty, opposition, whatever is between that and which we desire, and we feel that will give us a full and rich life, we should fight for it. And you just got to decide that my life is worth this kind of effort. And fight with everything in you, night and day, with every breath that you have. Most people don't have that kind of fighting spirit. Most people expend more energy watching a football game or a basketball game or some type of sporting event that they will give to their dream. They'll spend more time talking about what happened on television in some soap opera or some spectacular entertainment event, stress-relieving activity, than focusing on the possibilities for their own lives. They don't get that excited about themselves and their own potential for greatness. And I'm saying that we need to begin to start focusing in on ourselves and using our energies to move us from where we are in the direction of where we want to go. Overcoming the automatic mind that our experiences, our past results have told us, our current reality. Beginning to know that this is not it. That we are always involved in either creating reality or buying into the reality that we see. So we begin to learn how not to judge according to appearances. As we begin to, with everything in us, tenaciously to pull down the strongholds on our minds and do maintenance work to make sure that those negative thoughts and that automatic mind doesn't creep in on us again. So we're worrying about or beginning to only focus on and see the obstacles and the limitations as opposed to the solutions of the possibilities. As we work on ourselves constantly, what we will find is that we become at one or in alignment with the universe, and we are able to produce what appear to be miracles to most people, but it's only a perfect outworking of the law when we are working in harmony with the universe. And so the key to it is beginning to continue to have a whole vision of what you want to create, of constantly working with your feelings and your energy, keeping it positive, and engaging in actions and having things where the pictures, scriptures, music, friends, relationships, goals that challenge you and feed into you and create this new reality for yourself. Because as you continue to hold that in focus, as you continue to charge that with words and sell yourself on your having it, acting as if it already is, when you finally get that feeling, hit that level of consciousness, it will manifest. People come out of nowhere and support you. You get unexpected money that you had no idea that was going to come your way. Help and assistance from strangers comes to you, and you say, whoa. You begin to discover things showing up that you need, that you didn't even know you needed them. And here they are, right here at your disposal when you get to that new level of consciousness.
How bad do you want it? The dreams God has placed in your heart, the promises He's spoken to you, are not going to come to pass without opposition, without delays, without people trying to talk you out of it. There will be plenty of opportunities to get discouraged, to lose your passion and think that it's not meant to be. But if you're going to reach your destiny, you have to have a made-up mind. If you give up after the first time, or the 5th time, or the 30th time, what that really means is you didn't want it bad enough. There should be something you're believing for, that you are relentless. You are not moved by how impossible it looks. You're not discouraged by how long it's taking. You don't give up because people told you no. Your attitude is, if I have to believe my whole life, I am not going to stop believing. I am not going to take no for an answer. I'm not going to settle for mediocrity. I'm going to keep pursuing what God put in my heart. You can't be passive and indifferent. You have to have a holy determination. It's more than just your will. It's a fire on the inside, a knowing that it's supposed to be yours. When everything says it's not going to happen, instead of getting discouraged, you kick in to a new gear. Normal people would give up. Normal people would settle, but you're not normal. You want it on another level. How bad do you want what God has put in your heart? Bad enough to outlast the opposition? Bad enough to overlook some insults? Bad enough to do the right thing when the wrong thing is happening? Do you want it bad enough to keep pursuing even when circumstances say it's not going to happen? Many of the difficulties we face, the delays, the times it's not fair, that's simply a test. God is seeing how bad do you want it. This is what weeds people out. If you're overcome by problems, you let circumstances push you down, people talk you out of it, you're not going to have the strength or the courage to sustain where God is taking you. Don't have a weak mentality, have a warrior mentality. You have to be more determined than the opposition. If you give up every time things don't go your way, you didn't want it bad enough. You have to dig your heels in and say, I am in this for the long haul. I know what God has spoken to me. I will get well. I will accomplish my dream. I will meet the right person. You're not moved by what's not working out, by how long it's taking, or by who's not for you. You know who is for you, the Most High God.